What's up guys, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to be going over a new setting that has finally made it to console as of the release of Season 8. That new setting is motion blur. It's something they added to the upper tier consoles a while back to make the game look better, but they've finally given us the option to turn it off. If you know anything about Fortnite, the game isn't about looking better. With PC players turning off shadows, high quality effects, motion blur, and going stretch res, the game's gotten so competitive that basically the worse the game looks, the more of an advantage you have. Now this probably won't affect as many people as it only applies to Xbox One X and PS4 Pro players. As for PC players, they already have the option to remove this, so they're all good. First let's understand what motion blur is. The best way I can describe it is when something is in motion, depending on the frame rate of the video, it will look staggered when moving. So to smoothen it up, you add motion blur. Motion blur is very popular in console video games because as for console right now, we can barely get 60 frames per second on most games. Motion blur also helps with people who get nauseous because smoother images is a lot more soothing on the eyes. As for games that run at 144 frames per second or higher on PC, less motion blur is needed because more frames are appearing each second, therefore a less staggered effect when in motion. To turn off motion blur on console, go into settings and it's the first thing that should pop up. If it's not there, then you're probably playing without it already, but I highly recommend getting a PS4 Pro because after upgrading, the game just feels a lot better. So now why would you want to get rid of motion blur if it makes the game look better? Well, as for the sole reason of the blur, it's a competitive game, you don't want blur. Because if something's blurred, you can't see it. So when you're going to quickly move and shoot someone, as you're moving, you can't see anything. So you basically have to guess where your opponent is and rely solely on muscle memory and luck to hit the shot. But when you turn off motion blur, it's a lot easier to hit shots because nothing is blurred when in movement. The game doesn't look as good, but it's a definite sacrifice worth doing for how good the game feels without it. I also noticed a big change in how responsive the game felt. It was like motion blur gave me an input delay because I was waiting for that blur on my screen to stop before I would take shots. I can now do slight movements a lot easier, and if you thought my aim was good before, now it's just fucking stupid. I hit almost all my shotgun shots, and my builds and edits feel like my ping has dropped by about 20. I can see why a lot of people are switching to PC, mainly for the higher frame rate, more settings and stretch res, but as far as console goes, this entire screen has got one setting, which clearly states they're going to add more customization like PC, which will prolong my stay on console. That pretty much covers this video on motion blur. It was just a quick one because a lot of people asked me on stream to make a video about it. Speaking of streams, if you want to catch mine, I stream almost every day on YouTube, so hit that notification bell, like, subscribe, all that good shit. I'm just going to end the video with some creative clips. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
I'll make a cup of coffee for your head. I'll get you up and going out of bed.
Yeah, I don't wanna fall asleep, I don't wanna pass away. I've been thinking of our future cause I'll never see those days. I don't know why this has happened, but I probably deserve it. I tried to do my best, but you know that I'm not perfect. I've been praying for forgiveness, you've been praying for my health. When I leave this earth, hoping you'll find someone else. Cause yeah, we still young, there's so much we haven't done. Getting married, start a family, watch your husband with his son. I wish you could be me, but I won't make it off this bed. I hope I go to heaven, so I see you once again. My life was kinda short, but I got so many blessings. Happy you were mine, it sucks that it's all ending.